Hi guys, it is Trixie Shooter here, and I'm going to do a quick little video that was recommended by Stephanie Drake. She recommended that I do a little timeline of ancient Egypt. This is going to go all over the freaking place, and I'm going to try to go as slow as possible. But basically, she wanted to know when each century in ancient Egypt was, what it all equaled, etc. So basically, if you're thinking of it from today's standards, like say 2018 is classified in the 21st century, 2000s was also in the 21st century, 1990s was in, or the 1900s was 20th, 1800s was 19th, so on, so forth. With this, I'm going to start all the way back from the 31st century BC. That was when Narmer united both Upper and Lower Egypt, and basically that was the start of the United Dynasties. So Narmer was the first pharaoh of the first dynasty. Then in the 30th century, actually no, hold on. I'm sorry. It's like I have to keep looking. I have a crap ton of notes, as you can see. That goes all over the fucking place. So basically, the 31st century lasted from 3090 to 3000 BC. The 30th century is gonna lasted from 2990 to 2900 BC. And I gotta find where I ended here. Okay, the 29th century lasted from 2890. Hold on. Of course, it went backwards, so bear with me, to 2800, and that was the end of the first dynasty in ancient Egypt. That's all still BC. 28th dynasty was from 2790 to 2700. During this time was the Second Dynasty Wars, which lasted from 2775 to 2750. I think that's what that says. I really can't read my own handwriting. I'm very tired. Okay, then we're going to go to the 27th century BC, which lasted from 2690 to 2600. That had Imhotep and the Great Sphinx. I'm going to list off key points as much as I can. The 26th century BC was 2590 to 2500. 25th was 2490 to 2400. 24th century was from 2390 to 2300. 2345 saw the end of the 5th dynasty in Egypt. The 23rd century BC lasted from 2290 to 2200. 22nd century BC lasted from 2200 to 2101. From 2000, so the dates here are a little but 2160 or 2130 BC, depending on which one, because it's all circa for the most part until about I honestly can't even remember, but it's circa for a long time before I think it hits like the Middle Kingdom, like Hatshepsut era. Again, that's my guess. It's going to be circa here and there, but for the most part, before all the massive discoveries happened, it's circa. But basically, depending on which date you believe, would be the end of the 8th dynasty. And also with that, 2181 through 2040 could be the first intermediate period, which I guess an intermediate was when there's like no real pharaohs, I guess. Again, I know it, but I'm really tired, so this is just like a quick little da 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 da. But those could also be dated 2180 to 2055 BC. So again, dates are kind of met right now. And then try to go through and try the 21st. Okay, so the 21st century BC was from 2090 to 2000 BC. 20th century was from 1990 to 1900 BC. From 1913 to 1903 BC was the Egyptian-Nubian War. The 19th dynasty is... Oh, I got distracted. 19th dynasty is century BC, sorry, is from 1890 to 1800. The 12th dynasty starts in about 1991 BC, so it's kind of in the middle there. It starts beforehand, but then the 18th century BC is from 1790 to 1700. So again, as you can see, it's copying the current centuries. It's just kind of, I'm reiterating it and then putting like important things so you know what's all where. And then from this, in this one, this is where it gets a little confusing, because in 1786 was the end of the 12th dynasty, but it also started the 13th and the 14th dynasty. So this, at this time, the timelines start getting confusing. 17th century BC was from 1690 to 1600. The collapse of the 14th dynasty was about 1650. Excuse me. 16th century BC lasted from 1590 to 1500. In 1567 started the 18th dynasty, which I don't know what the heck. Oh, yeah, I do. 1525 was the end of the 15th dynasty, which there's a big gap there. But I think what happened was with, oh, I know, I wrote down in a hurry. In 1525, it was weird, because when I was researching it, 1525 was the end of the 15th dynasty, the end of the 16th dynasty, and the end of the 17th dynasty. I don't know what all happened to where every single dynasty ended at the same time. I didn't really research into this. Like I said, this was a quick boom, 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 boom thing. If you want to learn more about it, let me know. I'll do my best to research it as much as possible when I'm not flat out exhausted. 15th century lasted from 1490 to 1400. Now, the important pharaohs in this dynasty or century are going to be Hatshepsut and Thutmose III. The 14th century BC is from 1390 to 1300. With this one, you're going to see the important pharaohs of Amenhotep III, Akhenaten, Tutankhamun. And then in 1320, that's going to be the end of the 18th dynasty. So with Tutankhamun, that's the end of the 18th dynasty. I think 19th dynasty only lasted for a little bit after that. Like, it wasn't even that long of a dynasty, I don't think. 13th century BC was from 1290 to 1200. In 1279, Ramesses II became pharaoh, and he died in 1212. So basically, with that, Seti I died in 1778. A year later, that's when Ramesses II, also known as Ramesses the Great, became pharaoh. I don't know why it took a year. I don't know if he was off campaigning. I think that's what I heard, was he was off on war. He wasn't there to instantly become pharaoh, but yet everybody knew that he was, oh hey, he's pharaoh, but he can't be here to be crowned. I think that's what the story was. I can't fully remember. 12th century 1190 to 1100, Ramesses the seventh is the seventh ruler. That's funny. Seventh ruler of the 20th dynasty. 11th century is 1090 to 1000, and that's gonna end the 20th dynasty with Ramesses the 11th and his death. 10th century is going to be 990 to 900. 9th century BC is going to be 800 to 900, or 890 to 800. 8th century BC is going to be 790 to 700. 7th century BC is going to be 690 to 600. 6th century BC is going to be 590 to 500. 5th century BC is going to be from 490 BC to 400 BC. 4th century is going to be 390 BC to 300 BC. 3rd century, 290 BC to 200 BC. 2nd century, 190 BC to 100 BC. And then 1st century BC is going to be from 90 BC to the year 0. And then comes the fun part. I have a whole nother page. Now, with all this fun hoo-ha stuff, this was from a completely different website, so the dates are kind of weird on it, but basically, this is the dynastic timelines. This is going to be fun. So, Narmer, aka Menes, was the late pre-dynastic period, which is weird because he kind of fits in with the early dynastic period too, but we'll get there. The pre-dynastic period was from 31,000 BC to 2950 BC. Early dynastic, 2950 BC to 2575 BC. Those pharaohs in that are going to be Menes and Dozier. An important person in that is Imhotep, not the dude from the Mummy movie. Completely different person. That Imhotep, she was weird. It's kind of the same person, but it's kind of not. They got the same idea from it, but the Imhotep that I just mentioned, not the one from the movie, he went through and he built the step pyramid. He was the architect of the step pyramid. The Old Kingdom is 2575 to 2150, with the important pharaohs being Khufu and Snefru. Important things from that is mummification was first used. Ra was worshipped at her Heliopolis. The first intermediate period was from 2150 to 1975 BC. I'm not going to try and pronounce that pharaoh's name, but that is when the Book of the Dead was created. Middle Kingdom is going to be from 1975 to 1640. Again, these dates are all weird, so I wouldn't believe any of the dates. It's just a generalized kind of era thing. And that important pharaoh is going to end up being Mentuhotep. The important things that happened with this one is North and South Egypt reunited, and the Thebes became the capital. In the second intermediate period, you're going to have the Hyksos tribe took over North Egypt, and then horse-drawn chariots were introduced. The New Kingdom, 1520 through 1075. Important pharaohs in that one are Hatshepsut, Akhenaten, Tutankhamun, and then you have Nefertiti in this period as well. So all of those pharaohs belong in the New Kingdom. Another pharaoh that belongs in the New Kingdom will be Ramesses II, but he belongs to the 20th dynasty. The things that happened in the New Kingdom was the Valley of the Kings became where everybody, or the pharaohs, would be buried. You have Memphis became the capital, and then the Temple of Karnak was constructed. The third intermediate period, there were so many intermediate periods, oh my lord, lasted from 1075 BC. I'm not even going to say BC. It lasted from it's BC regardless. 1175 to 715. I'm not going to try and butcher that pharaoh's name. Key things that happened. Egypt was divided again. The northern capital ended up being Tanis. Tanis, I think that's how you pronounce it. And then the south capital ended up being Thebes. The pharaoh that I wasn't going to butcher ended up reuniting Egypt. And then Egypt lost control of Israel and Lebanon. The late period lasted from 715 BC to 332 BC. The important pharaoh was Nefertiti. I think that's how you pronounce it. The first. What happened? Important things that happened then was Egypt was invaded by the Libyans and Assyrians. Persians conquered Egypt, and then Alexander the Great conquered Egypt for Greece in 332 BC. The Macedonian era lasted from 323 BC to 305 BC, with the 305 BC starting the Ptolemaic dynasty, which lasted from 305 BC to 30 BC with the death of Cleopatra. Now, I know that you went through, or I know that Stephanie went through, and in one of the comments of one of the last videos I made, said to call him Alexander the Greek. True. And she mentioned that he killed a lot of people. And that's true. He did. But I'm the type of person that even though he did kill a lot of people, that name suits what he did. Because that was what his purpose wasn't to, kill a lot of people. But that's what happens when you go to war with a lot of people and you try to conquer territories. You're going to end up killing some people. But he was great because he discovered countries that in ancient times people were writing off as didn't exist. That's what makes him great on my side. I don't agree with him killing people, but I agree with him going through and saying, oh, hey, I don't believe anything that any of these people are saying. I know that there's more past the mountains that we're supposed to go past. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go see these new lands. I'm going to prove, basically in my mind, he was proving that the world wasn't flat. He knew that there was something beyond there. So that's why he was great to me. He discovered these things. And plus, he basically was the reason why we had Cleopatra to begin with. Because if he wouldn't have conquered Egypt after he conquered the Persians, we wouldn't have had Cleopatra to begin with. Important things about the Ptolemaic dynasty. There were 13 kings named Ptolemy. We had 7 queens named Cleopatra, 4 queens named Bernice, and then 4 queens named Arsinoe. And of course, one of those famous queens was Cleopatra the 7th. Then you have, so yeah, that's basically the massively huge timeline of ancient Egypt. If you liked it, Stephanie, go through and let me know. If you have any more questions, go through and comment. If anybody else has any questions, go through and comment. I am going to try here. If you want me to research into this a little bit more, I certainly can. I don't mind doing it. Ancient Egypt is something that I love relearning about because I know some things, but trying to gain them off of the top of my head is kind of difficult. But that's the gist of it. You are amazing, you are smart, you are beautiful, you are talented. Don't let anybody tell you any different. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up. If you didn't, give me constructive criticism down in the comments so I can remember it for the future. If you liked it, go through and share it with your friends so they can also give me constructive criticism if they don't like it. Join the conversation. I love conversation. I love what goes on in the comments. My past few videos have actually had great responses. Stephanie went through and recommended that I do another video on, or I do a video on the Cheddarman, which was, neat, kind of a neat. I actually don't know what it fully is. I did like a quick little Google search, but even that quick little Google search wasn't enough to give me enough research. But it was somebody that was found in Britain and was proved to have like African American features. So I'm gonna look into that and I'm gonna possibly make a video of it. I have classwork and stuff to do tomorrow, so maybe I'll get that video done within the next couple days. Maybe it'll be a little bit, but I will not forget to do it. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, don't be anybody but you. I don't care what other people say. You are a unique little person or big person. You're just a unique person in general, and that's what you're supposed to be. I will see you later, guys. Bye.